Hi, Kevin Wright here, and back with another weekly property finance tip. And what are we going to talk about this week? We're going to talk about quite an unusual variation in terms of bridging finance. We're going to talk about the done-up value bridge. So, if you want to find out more about the done-up value bridge, keep watching. Now, if you watched my other video, the 5 types of bridging, you'll see that one of the types was a done-up value bridge. And I give you a little explanation in that video. But with this video, we're going to drill down into more detail about what a done-up value bridge is. Now, it's a bit of a niche area in bridging because most bridgers don't lend on the done-up value. They lend on the true current value, because usually the done-up value is at some future point and it doesn't exist when you buy the property. So typically you'd buy the property, you'd do some work to it, you'd increase the value, you'd make it worth the done-up value, and then you'd get it refinanced or you'd sell it. So at the point you buy it, it's in its undone-up state. And that means that bridgers are going to fund on what's there at the moment, because a future value that actually doesn't exist at the time the loan is taken would put the bridger in a very difficult position, in that they're lending more than the property's worth, or they could be. So bridgers are all about true current value. So why is the done-up value different? Let's examine why. So to make a done-up value bridge work and put yourself in a position where you can use it, you've got to do something that most investors don't do. You've got to refurb the property before you actually buy it. Now, if you hunt down another of my videos where I talk about delayed completion bridging, that's the mechanism by which you use a done-up value bridge. So I'll give you a quick précis of that here, but go check out that video if you haven't already watched it. So a delayed completion deal is, quite simply, you get agreement with the seller that you can exchange contracts, get the keys on exchange, because it's normally on completion, isn't it? But you get the keys on exchange and you get their permission to enter the property and do the refurb and delay or defer the completion until the refurb's complete. Now, that's a counterintuitive strategy, isn't it? You've probably seen me say, observe the masses and do the opposite. Well, this is definitely a do the opposite type of strategy. Now, you've picked up from the delayed completion video that the properties that work with this are usually, if not always, vacant. So it doesn't work when you've got someone living in the property, because while they're living there, it's really difficult, if not impossible, to refurb it. So vacant properties, probate properties, ideal for this. So you've got the seller's agreement that they'll exchange contracts, give you the keys, let you go in and do the refurb. Now, to be fair, there's a lot of sellers that won't allow you to do that. So this is not one of these strategies you're going to be able to do on every deal. But when it works well. So you've exchanged contracts, you've jumped in the property, you've done whatever it else needs doing to the property, it's now done up and it's looking really, really nice. What happens now? Well, the bridging lender, and there's only a few bridgers that actually do this variant, the done-up value bridge. So a done-up value bridger would send their valuer out, and their valuer values what he sees, which of course is not the scabby old property that you bought a few weeks, or that you exchanged contracts on a few weeks later. So it's not the scabby old property that you exchanged contracts on a few weeks earlier. It's a now nice, shiny, done-up property. So the bridger's valuer values what they see, which is exactly that, a done-up property. Now, the done-up value bridger then lends based on that done-up value, because unlike a normal deal, this isn't some future value that may or may not exist, depending on whether you actually do the work or not. You've done the work. So the done-up value is now actually the true current value that bridgers like to lend on. Now, they'll typically lend 65 to 70% of the done-up value. Now, you might be thinking, if I'm borrowing against the done-up value to complete the purchase, how much deposit am I putting down? I can tell you that done-up bridges fall into 2 categories. In one category, they say, regardless of the value, they want you to put 10% deposit down. So if you've agreed to buy it at 100, but the done-up value is, let's say, 150, even though they would normally lend 65 or maybe 70% of 150, These bridges say, we'll lend 90 anyway, you just put 10 in. Hey, which is still pretty good, isn't it? Compared to the normal, got to put 25% down. But there are some other bridges, and to be fair, they will charge a higher interest rate. But these other done up value bridges would say, oh, we'll just lend you probably 65% of what it's worth, regardless of how that fits with the purchase price. And that means that on that 150 done up value that you're buying at 100, they might lend you more than 90. They might lend you a lot closer to the 100. So the done up value bridge is a great way of not putting too much cash into a property and getting it stuck in there until you refinance it or you sell the property, depending on whether you're buying to hold or buying to sell. So there you have it. There's the done up value bridge. As I said earlier, tie it up with the 5 types of bridging video and the delayed completion video, and you can put all 3 together, watch all 3, and you get a very good understanding of how to run this strategy. Now, this is one of the Ninja Investor strategies that I've been teaching to investors for the last 10 years. On my Ninja Investor program, which is my advanced training, we drill down into this in much deeper level with case studies. There we are, another property finance tip for this week. I'll be back next week with another tip. And hey, have you subscribed yet? Now, click that button that's just coming up there now. And if you want to get notified every time I release a video, there's that bell thing there. Click that too. And then your phone will ping every time I release a video and you won't miss anything. Now, hang on before you click away, because I've got something else I want to show you. If you enjoyed watching this video, did you know every Monday morning at 8:30, I do a live Facebook Q&A. So if you want to start the week with checking out some answers to your property finance questions, click the link here.